Hey brother, I know you're tired. There's a quiet battle happening inside you right now. One part of you still wants to fight for her, to hold on a little longer. The other part is ready to let it all go. The sleepless nights, the long texts that went unanswered, the overthinking, the hoping, the mental rewinds of every conversation trying to figure out what went wrong. Let me tell you something up front. You're not weak for feeling this way. You're not soft. You're not broken. You're a man who showed up in a world where most people are just performing. You cared. You invested. You stayed when most would have run. That matters. But before you make the final decision to walk away, I'm going to ask you to pause. Not forever, just long enough to ask yourself the right questions. Because the next move you make will either become a story of growth or a source of regret. Don't walk because you're tired. Walk because you're clear. Don't leave because you're hurting. Leave because you've outgrown the cycle. Most men exit relationships because of frustration, not wisdom. They've been carrying all the emotional weight, giving effort without acknowledgement, showing loyalty to someone who feels emotionally absent. That's real pain. But pain alone isn't a compass, clarity is. Not every moment of silence means she's given up. Not every cold phase means she's stopped caring. Sometimes she's confused. Sometimes she's testing your emotional steadiness. And sometimes you are too. So slow down. Ask yourself, has she truly disconnected? Or are you projecting your fears onto her distance? Because sometimes what looks like disinterest is actually emotional fatigue from her side and yours. Here's the question. Have you led like a man? Have you communicated your truth with clarity and calm? Have you expressed your standards, not with force, but with quiet confidence? Have you shown her how to love you, not by demanding, but by embodying it? Before you leave, make sure you're not running from your own reflection. Don't walk away just because you feel unseen. Walk when you know you've shown the real you, the grounded you, the calm you, the version that doesn't beg but leads. Because maybe the issue isn't that she lost interest. Maybe it's that you overextended, gave too much too fast. You tried to close the gap by giving more. But real masculine energy doesn't chase when space is created. It holds the frame. It steps back without resentment and allows the energy to rebalance. Maybe this isn't a moment to quit. Maybe this is your chance to shift. Not to punish her, not to play games, but to reset the weight you've been carrying alone. Ask yourself honestly, am I walking away to teach her a lesson or to protect my peace? Because if you're leaving to make her realize your value, you're still tied to her validation. And that's not power, that's dependency. Real power is walking away with no expectation of return, not out of anger, out of self-respect, because your worth doesn't need to be proven to someone who can't see it. That's not giving up. That's letting go of trying to build something alone. Ask yourself, has she ever truly seen you? Not the version of you that overcompensates, not the you that chases. The real you is the stillness, the standard, the man who leads with clarity. Because if she hasn't, then maybe she never met the man you're becoming. And maybe it's time to evolve into him, not to win her back, but to honor yourself. Sometimes what feels like rejection is really redirection. Sometimes she's not failing you, you've just stayed silent too long. Have you actually spoken your truth? Or have you just hoped she'd figure it out? Because clarity isn't cruelty, it's leadership. If you've expressed your needs, your vision, your boundaries, and she still can't meet you halfway, then yes, it's time to leave. But leave with peace, not pride. Leave because you gave. You stayed grounded. You remained calm. And if that still wasn't enough for her to rise, she was never meant to walk beside you. Because the woman who's ready for your energy won't need to be chased. She'll match it. She'll respect it. She'll value the calm. If you stay, stay with boundaries. Not nostalgia, not fear. Lead. Don't linger. No more enabling emotional confusion. No more chasing clarity. You're not here to be chosen. You're here to choose. And if you walk, then walk fully. Don't check back in. Don't leave emotional doors cracked open. Walk like a man who values his peace more than a potential. because the kind of walk that changes your life doesn't scream. It moves in silence. It says, I know who I am. I won't shrink to be seen. She'll feel that, not as punishment, but as the echo of presence she couldn't match. And here's the beautiful part. When you reclaim your energy, you stop needing closure. You stop asking why. You stop revisiting old memories looking for answers. Because now, you're not holding space for what could have been. You're building space for what's next. A version of you that doesn't chase, that doesn't settle for breadcrumbs, that doesn't explain his worth. Before you give up on her, give yourself the chance to evolve. And once you do, you'll see clearly. Walking away wasn't loss. It was initiation. The real test isn't leaving. It's staying gone. Even when the memory feels soft. Even when the past whispers. But now you ask, does the man I'm becoming deserve to shrink back into the man I was, just to keep someone who couldn't see me? If the answer is no, then keep walking. And if she returns one day, not with words but with transformation, you don't reject her from ego, but you don't rush either. You observe, you protect your peace, because you're not looking for love, you're filtering for alignment. Brother, your story doesn't end here, it continues. And every woman who confused your calm for weakness will feel the strength of your silence, not as punishment, but as a proof. You were the kind of man she just wasn't ready for. And by then, you'll be long gone, not bitter, not broken, just better.